Hello everyone, I am Lalita Singh and you are going to study science with me in class 7. Today we are discussing first part of chapter 2, that is called nutrition in animal. In this chapter you will learn about mode of nutrition in animal, steps of nutrition in animal, nutrition in amoeba, nutrition in human digestive system, ingestion of food, digestion of food, absorption of food, assimilation and the fate of the absorbed nutrient, digestion of undigested food material and digestion of food in ruminant. Okay, let's start the discussion then. You can see this is an animal which is eating the grass. Okay, so what is nutrition? Nutrition means taking the food inside the body. Okay, so we have already learned that nutrition can be of two types, autotrophic and heterotrophic. Autotrophic animals are those that can synthesize their own food, whereas heterotrophic are those that depend upon the other animal for their food. Alright, so the heterotroph mode of nutrition, in case of heterotroph mode of nutrition, animals take the food from the green plant. So based on their feeding habit, the animals can be of the following type. They can be herbivores. When the animal feed on the plant matter only, it is called herbivores. For example, buffalo, goat, deer, etc. Carnivores are those animals which feed on the flesh of other animals. They hunt down the prey, then they feed on the flesh of those animals. For example, tiger, panther, leopard, etc. Omnivores are those organisms which is taking the food from plant as well as from the animal, means they can eat the leaves of the plant as well as the flesh of the animal. So they are having the characteristic of both herbivores and carnivores, that is why they are called omnivores. Clear? Means mode of nutrition can be of these three types. Basically most of the animals are taking the food in the solid condition, and that type of organism that take the food in solid condition, either we will talk about carnivores or herbivores or omnivores, all of them are taking the food in solid condition and they all call holozoic nutrition. This method in which we are taking the solid food inside the body is called holozoic nutrition. Clear? However, some animals show other type of nutrition as well, like parasitic, saprophagus or scavenger. Parasitic are those organisms which obtain the food from the host body. Host is a living organism. It means an organism obtain the food from other living organism by harming them. So based on the position where they are found, the parasites are of two types. First one is endoparasite and the second one is ectoparasite. Endoparasites are those organisms which are present inside the human body. Okay, whereas ectoparasites are those organisms which are present outside the human body. Clear? Endoparasites are those organisms which live inside the body of the host, whereas ectoparasites are those organisms which live outside the body of the host. Endoparasite example is roundworm, liver fluke. Okay, whereas ectoparasites are like mosquito, bedbugs. Clear? Mites, ticks, etc. Next is saprophagus animal. Saprophagus animal feed on the dead and decaying plant and animal matter. For example, earthworm. In case of animal, earthworm take the dead and decaying organic matter, whereas scavenger are those which feed on the dead bodies of the animal, like vulture, hyena, jackal, etc. There is difference between saprophyte or saprophagus and scavenger. Saprophagus are those organisms which is taking the food from plant and animal matter both when they are dead and decaying. Okay, saprophagus are those animals which feed on dead and decaying plant and animal matter, whereas scavenger are those which only feed on dead bodies of animal like vulture, hyena, jackal, etc. Okay, now steps in nutrition. We know that the heterotroph animal take the complex nutrient material which cannot be absorbed by the cells of the body. So there is a need to digest those complex organic matter into the simpler one. There is a need to break those complex organic compound so that they can become the simple soluble molecule and can be absorbed by the cell. Understood? They can be utilized by the cell. For conversion of complex organic matter into simpler one, these following steps are involved. First one is ingestion. Ingestion means the process of taking the food inside the body of animal. Okay, ingestion means taking the food inside the body of the animal. Clear? Next is digestion. Digestion means breaking the complex organic matter into the simpler one so that it can be absorbed. Okay, digestion involves two processes. The first one is physical, which is which includes the churning movement of in stomach and chewing the food in the mouth, which break the solid food into smaller pieces. Okay, next, after physical action, the next one is chemical action, which involve actual breaking down of the complex chemical compound. For example, the carbohydrate after chemical digestion becomes simple sugar, that is glucose. Fat convert into fatty acid and glycerol, whereas protein is broken down into the amino acid. After these complex nutrient material get broken down into the simpler form, they can easily absorb, and so the next step is absorption. Absorption means absorption of those simple soluble molecule inside the body cell through the intestinal wall. Okay, once these nutrient material are absorbed inside the body, it is utilized to perform various activity like growth, repair, okay, synthesis of other substance, and this process is known as assimilation. Assimilation is the process of utilization of absorbed nutrient by the body to produce energy, to produce new substances. Okay, now egestion. Egestion means removing the undigested solid part of the food from the body. It is also known as defecation. Clear? Now next point is nutrition in amoeba. Amoeba nutrition also include all these 5 points. Okay, what are they? Ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, and egestion. Now see over here, this is the body cells of amoeba. Amoeba is an organism whose whole body is made up of only one cell. So whenever the amoeba come in contact with the food, you can see this red dot is indicating the food particle. So whenever the amoeba come in contact with the food, what will happen? The amoeba will form the pseudopodia around the food. Understood? And it will engulf the food inside the body, and this is called ingestion. See over here, it is now inside the body, and hence it is called ingestion. Clear? Now once the food is inside the body, inside the food vacuole, this is the food vacuole. Food is always present inside the food vacuole in case of amoeba. Once this food vacuole is inside the body of amoeba, lots of digestive enzymes present in the body will act on this food vacuole, okay, and it will break down the complex nutrient material into the simpler one. Understand? This is called digestion. Once this food is digested, okay, the digested nutrient material will absorbed by the body cells of amoeba. Clear? The digested nutrient material will absorb by the body cells of amoeba, body cell of the amoeba body. Okay, after absorption, the residual part will attach to the any side of the membrane. Membrane means outer layer, okay, and it will be discarded outside. See, this is the amoeba and this is the food, red dot, okay, and in this way it will form the pseudopodia once it come in contact with the amoeba. Clear? Now after that, with 1 drop of water, it will form the food vacuole. This is the ingestion process. Okay, after ingestion, what will happen? Lots of enzyme has been secreted from the cytoplasm into the food vacuole, which result into digestion of the food present in the food vacuole. Next, after that, the digested food will be absorbed, and this food is used for energy production, for maintenance, for multiplication, and for growth. Okay, this is called assimilation, and then rest of the part which is not digested, it will be egested out from the body of amoeba. See over here, this food vacuole is now going to come in contact with outer cell membrane, outer layer, and then it will be egested out. Clear? Nutrition in human. Nutrition in case of human take place with the help of digestive system. Animal like humans take the food from both plant and animal. They take the food like vegetable, fruit, seeds from plant, okay, whereas they take meat, milk, honey, egg from the animal. And both of the food which we take, which the humans take from plant and animal, they are in complex structure. They are complex nutrient material that needed to be digested within the body. To digest them, the humans also perform ingestion, digestion, assimilation, absorption, and egestion. Okay, so to perform all these processes, the humans are having a long coiled food tube which is open at the both end. This food tube is called alimentary canal. This alimentary canal begin from the mouth, okay, and it continue within the body through a tube like channel within the different type of structure and ultimately ends at the anus. Clear? So this is the digestive system or alimentary canal of the human. It is divided into the following compartment. The first one is mouth. Okay, now second one is esophagus, this pipe like structure. The third one is this stomach. Fourth one is this small intestine, and large intestine is the fifth one. Okay, and ultimately after this is the rectum and anus present. So these are the structure present within the human digestive system. See, it is present over here outside from the body. It is a simple diagram which is showing different condition, different location of the different organ. You can see. Now, along with these, the human digestive also possesses some digestive gland which make and store the digestive juices which aids into digestion. These glands secrete several enzymes which is helpful in digestion. For example, this is the largest gland of the body. This is called liver, which secrete bile juice, whereas this leaf-like structure, yellow leaf-like structure is pancreas, which also help in secreting some of the substances which help in digestion. And over here we are having three pairs of salivary gland which secrete saliva into the mouth. Hence, due to presence of this salivary gland within the mouth, digestion start from the mouth. Okay, so first understand the different steps of digestion. First one is ingestion. Ingestion of food. Food is taken into the body through the mouth. Okay, the food is taken into the alimentary canal through the mouth. This is called ingestion. We put the food material into the mouth while eating with the help of our hand. We chew it into very fine paste like structure. Okay, and then we engulf it. This chewing process is aided with the help of this chewing process need a little bit watery substance which is secreted from these salivary gland. Okay, the salivary gland is the one which is secreting the liquid substance which make it easier for us to chew the food. So to chew the food, we are having teeth in our mouth. So first understand what is teeth. Teeth are the hard structure which help us to crush the food. There are 32 teeth in our mouth. You can see there are 32 teeth in our mouth. These are of 4 different types. In case of children, it is 20 in number. Okay, it is 20 in number. In case of milk teeth, once it is replaced by the permanent set of teeth, initially the child is having 28 teeth, which later on become 32 by the development of wisdom tooth. Clear? 32. Clear? Now let's discuss about type of teeth. See over here. This is incisor. They are the front teeth used for biting. These are the frontal teeth which is used for biting the food, and they are having the cutting margin. Clear? It is having only one root. Now next is canine. Can you see? It is having pointed edge. Canine is used for tearing the food because they are pointed, and it is also having only one root. Clear? Now next is molar and premolar. This is premolar and this is molar. Both molar and premolar are used in chewing and grinding the food. They have broad, flat, see over here, they are having broad, flat and wide grinding surface over there to grind the food properly. Now see the location of these type of food. Incisor is the frontal four teeth present in the upper and lower jaw. Okay, and then after that we are having canine. See, second one is canine. Okay, then after canine, two premolars are present, and then molars, three molars on one side of one jaw. Clear? So in this activity number 2, we have to observe and count the number of teeth. You can count it from here. Just count how many incisor you are having. 4 is downside and 4 is upside. Okay, altogether you are having 8 incisor. Now about canine, one canine is present in this side, one canine is present in this side. So altogether in one jaw we are having 2 canine, and in both of the jaw we are having collectively 4 canine. What about molars and premolars? Premolars are 4 in number, 2 on each side, and altogether it is 8 in number. 2 from this side, 2 from this side, and upper and lower together it is 8 in number. Whereas molar is also present. 4 in number, 2 from this side, 2 from this side, altogether 8 if we are talking about the milk teeth. Okay, but if we are talking about permanent teeth, then over here we are having 3 molars, 6 and 6, it is totality in 12. Altogether it will become 32 teeth. Okay, next we are going to study about the structure of tooth. You can see this is what the tooth look like. Understood? A tooth has two main part. The upper part, which is visible, okay, which is visible above the jaw, is known as crown, whereas this lower part, which is not visible, is known as root, which is embedded into the jaw. Clear? Each tooth is fixed in the socket in the specific place. Okay, every tooth is having a specific location for them. The center of each tooth has pulp. You can see this is the pulpy region of the tooth. This pulp is very, very important because it is the place where the blood vessels enter and nerves enter inside the teeth to supply the nutrition. Above the pulp, it is the dentine, the reddish and yellowish color which is present in all around the pulp. It is dentine, and the whitish part is enamel. Enamel is the hardest substance. Okay, and this form the crown of the teeth as well. Understood? This crown is having root which is embedded in the fleshy ridge of the jawbone, is called gum. Okay, it is set, this teeth is set in the fleshy ridge of the jawbone. It is called gum. This is called gum. This is the entire structure of tooth. Okay, first above the whiter part is enamel. Below the whiter part it is dentine. Below the dentine it is pulp. Pulp is having nervous penetration. Nerve cells are present over here, and the blood cells are also present over here, so that blood cells can nourish the living cells of the tooth, and nerve cells can sense or can transmit the impulses. Clear? Now about tooth decay. Maybe you have seen this type of condition in the tooth of small children, right? This is called decay. Tooth decay. Over here it is decay of enamel. Now decay is reaching to the dentine proportion, and decay is now reaching to the pulp region, and now the whole tooth is destroyed completely. This is called tooth decay. Okay, healthy teeth are always shiny and white in color. You can see these are always white and shiny in color. but our teeth become yellowish because of the deposition of plaque inside it. Okay, when the teeth is having a layer of plaque on it, it become yellowish in color. Now question arises, what is plaque? Plaque is actually very minute food particle which is mixed with the saliva, and several bacteria are growing in it. Okay, plaque is a layer of saliva which is having food particle and bacteria in it. The sugary and starchy food, when we eat them, they get stick to the plaque, and the bacteria in the plaque convert sugar and starch into the acid. This acid got deposited on the enamel and gradually damage the teeth. This is called tooth decay, and it look like this. And if it is not treated on time, what will happen? The complete tooth will get destroyed. So how we are supposed to take care of our teeth? There are several things that if we will keep in mind, okay, then it will be easier for us to take care of our teeth. What are they? First is avoid eating sticky and starchy food like sweet, toffee, chocolate, ice cream, cold drink, etc. Because in it the sugar is present and it is sticky in nature, though, so it will get stick to the tooth, and bacteria will grow over there and they will produce acid. Next is brush your teeth properly every day, in the morning and at night. In morning before eating, at night after eating. Okay, if you will brush your teeth properly, just think about it in proper way. Our mouth is having plaque, on plaque acid is secreted, but the toothpaste is having basic substance in it. So when we brush, the basic substance react with acidic substance and it make each other neutral. In this way our teeth remain healthy. Okay, now next is massage your gum gently with brush from both inside and outside. Basically you have to pay more attention toward the inside of the teeth. Why? Because the food is kept inside the mouth and the most exposed part of the teeth toward the food is inside of the teeth. So you have to brush properly while taking care of the inside and outside of the teeth. Okay, now next is ensure no food particles are left between the teeth. If they are present, it will be a parting substance for the bacteria, right? They will feed on these food material which is left inside the mouth between the teeth, and they will secrete a lot amount of acid which will cause tooth decay. Okay, next is eat lot of self-cleaning food like raw vegetable like carrot, radish, cabbage, cucumber. These clean the teeth and help you to maintain the shiny white teeth. Understood? Now over here we are having difference between milk teeth and permanent teeth. We have already talked about milk teeth are those teeth which come in the mouth of a child for the first time, which remain over there up to 6 years or 8 years of age, right? And permanent teeth are those which come after milk teeth and it stay with the person until the end. It cannot be replaced. Once it fall down, there is no replacement for it. So just discuss the differences between them. First point is milk teeth. They grow from the age of 6 months, whereas the permanent set of teeth appear between the age of 6 to 8 years, right? Now about number, the number is 20 in milk teeth, whereas over here the number of permanent teeth is 32. Understood? Next is milk teeth. They do not have molar teeth, whereas the permanent teeth have 6 molar in each jaw. Understood? Now milk teeth, they fall off and are replaced by permanent set of teeth, whereas permanent teeth, if fallen down, they will never be replaced. The space present in the jaw for the teeth will be empty forever until you are taking the help of the doctor to attach an artificial teeth over there. Understood? Next is tongue. Next topic is tongue. See, this is what tongue look like. Okay, tongue is a fleshy structure. It is purely made up of muscles. It does not have any kind of bone in it. Okay, so tongue is a fleshy and muscular structure which is attached to the floor of buccal cavity. Buccal cavity means mouth. Okay, so tongue is attached with the floor of mouth. The tongue has many taste buds. Taste buds are the structure which help us to recognize the taste. For example, the taste bud present on the frontal part of the tongue is able to recognize the sweet taste, whereas on the sides it is able to recognize the salty taste or the sour taste, whereas in the middle over here the taste bud was able to recognize bitter taste. Understood? So tongue help us to recognize the taste of the food. Okay, now see what is the function of tongue. Tongue help us to taste food. That is what we were talking about. Tongue help us to taste the food, whether the food is good to taste or bad to taste. Okay, now it also help to mix the saliva with food during chewing process, which make the food slippery. Understood? Next is tongue pushes the food toward the teeth for chewing. We know that when we are grinding the food with the help of teeth, every time the food fall down from the teeth, okay, on the floor of buccal cavity. So at that time it is the tongue which help to push the food back toward the teeth so that it can be chewed properly. Next is tongue help in swallowing the food. Okay, and obviously tongue help us to speak. Just try to speak without moving your tongue. You will be able to notice that it is the tongue which twists and turns so many times when you are speaking. Without tongue, we cannot speak. Understood? Next is digestion of food. See, after ingestion, it is the digestion process. Digestion of food actually initiated in mouth with the help of salivary gland. Okay, digestion of food start in mouth. In mouth, the food is chewed and it is masticated and mixed with the saliva, which is secreted by salivary gland. Look at here. The humans are having 3 pairs of salivary gland. These are salivary gland which secrete saliva. Understood? This saliva is viscous transparent liquid which contain many water and salt. Along with it, it is also containing mucin. Saliva firstly moisten the food. It make the food slippery so that we can easily chew it, we can masticate it and we can swallow down the food very easily. Okay, this food when get mixed with the saliva, digestion of carbohydrates start with the help of salivary amylase that is present in the saliva. Okay, saliva contain an enzyme called salivary amylase which help to digest the starch into maltose, and starch is a kind of carbohydrate. So when we are taking food, when we are eating the food, it is the first nutrient which is going to get digested. Okay, the first nutrient is carbohydrate, it means starch, okay, which can get digested initially in the mouth. So digestion begin in the mouth. Okay, and when it begins, actually when we take the first bite of food, this enzyme which is present in the saliva get mixed with the food and it started to work. It means the moment you take the first bite, okay, the moment when you take the first bite, the digestion begin. Clear? Now over here we are having an activity to show that saliva break down the starch into sugar. For this we need a test tube. Along with test tube we need a sample of starch and iodine solution. Clear? And obviously we need saliva. Now take 2 test tube. We need 2 test tube and we will mark it with A and B with the help of marker. Okay. Now put 1 tablespoon or teaspoon of boiled rice into test tube A and chewed on the test tube B. Okay, in the test tube A, simply the boiled rice is placed, whereas in test tube B, the rice which is chewed by us is spilled into this test tube. Understood? It means the rice is mixed with the saliva. Okay, let it wait for some time first. Clear? And then add 3 ml of water in it, along with 3 drops of iodine solution to each. We have been studying about it that whenever starch get mixed with the iodine, it give a peculiar blue-black color. Right, we have discussed about it in chapter 1 as well. So whenever the starch is mixed with the iodine, it provide a black blue color. So you can see in test tube A where we have put the starch along with the iodine, it show the color change. Whereas if we are putting the same iodine in the test tube B, it does not show any color change. The reason is, over here saliva is present, which digests the starch and convert it into maltose, and maltose does not show any change with iodine. That is why over here we cannot found any change. Clear? Understood? So we can say yes, saliva help in digestion of starch. Clear? Now next is esophagus or food pipe, that we will do in our next video. Until then, have a nice day everyone.